Now, he goes on, or this goes on rather, and basically says that the husband is likened unto Christ and the wife is likened unto the church. Now that tells me that the husband has the greater responsibility. I mean, Christ is perfect in his dealings with the church, perfect guidance, perfect protection, perfect love, perfect communication. The church, as we know, she's imperfect in her response to the Savior. Now, I don't think it means the husband has to be perfect, but I do think it teaches us that the greater responsibility is on our shoulders. And I've thought about this. The wife is to submit to the husband like the church does to Christ. Now, as a member of the church, I want to submit to Christ. I want Jesus to talk to me. I actually long for the next bit of instruction that he might give me. Even if it's corrective in nature, Lord, talk to me. Chastise me, but just talk to me. Show me what to do. I want to hear your voice. Why is that? Well, he's always had time for me. He's never been too busy to talk to me. He's always been kind to me, even when I felt like I didn't deserve it at all. Even when I've done the same stupid thing repeatedly, he has never thrown my past failures in my face and reminded me of them. Never once. In the 40 years I've walked with him, he's never thrown up my past failures to me. He's always been forgiving. He's provided security and comfort and protection for me. And quite frankly, I know, come what may, he will always have my best interest at heart. And when a husband begins to love his wife like that, and she has a genuine relationship with the Lord, I think submission really becomes a non-issue. There'll be an automatic response to that kind of love. And then he goes on and talks about how the Lord sanctifies her, sets her apart, and cleanses her with the washing of water by the word, literally by the spoken word. Jesus speaks words to his bride, the church. And I'm sure contained in that there's the thought of the gospel message that makes us clean before God. But I think there's a lot more than that. I think the words that he speaks to the church, they cleanse her and they cause her to be radiant. He washes her with the water of words that he might present her to himself a glorious church. No spot, no wrinkle, no blemish. You see, the words that he speaks have an impact on his bride. Now, I thought about that. I wondered, Jesus, what kind of words do you say about your bride, the church? I mean, what does he say before the Father about his bride? What does he say before the angels, before the enemy? What does he even speak to the hearts of believers about his bride, the church? So I actually went through all the scriptures in the New Testament, every reference to the church, every reference to the bride of Christ. Let me give you an example of what he says about and to his bride. In Matthew 16:18, he said, I will build my church. In Acts 9:4, when Saul was persecuting the church, Jesus took it personally. He said, why are you persecuting me? Acts 20:28, he bought her with his own blood. 1 Corinthians 1 and 2, he sanctified her and called her to holiness. 1 Corinthians 11:22, he warned against people despising his church. 1 Corinthians 12:28, he gave her gifts. 1 Corinthians 14 speaks of his desire to edify her and his desire to see her strengthened. Ephesians 3:10, he displays his wisdom through her. Ephesians 3:21 displays his glory through her. 1 Timothy 3:5, he only wants qualified people taking care of her. 1 Timothy 3:15, he said she is the pillar and the foundation of the truth. 1 Timothy 5:17, he said those that direct the affairs of his church should get double pay. Hebrews 12:23, its members' names are written in heaven. 1 Corinthians 12:22, he said, every member of my church is necessary. 1 Corinthians 12:24, God has composed her and given honor to her. Colossians 3:15, we should be thankful to be a part of her. And if you want to take the Song of Solomon as an analogy of Christ's love for the church, which many theologians throughout the centuries have done, certainly it's a story of the love relationship between Solomon and his Shulamite bride. But if you look at it as being analogous between Christ's love and the church, this is what he has to say about his bride. In chapter 1, verse 15, he says, she is fair. Chapter 2 and verse 2, she's like a lily among thorns. Verse 4, his banner over her is love. Verse 14, she's lovely and sweet. Chapter 4, verse 7, he said she's beautiful from head to toe. She's beautiful beyond compare and absolutely flawless. Chapter 6 and verse 8, he says there is no one like her on earth, never has been, never will be. She is a woman beyond compare. Now, if we as husbands begin to speak those kind of words to our wives, like Christ does to his church, our wives will be radiant. Jesus washes her with the water of the word that he might present her to himself. It affects her. It removes the blemishes. It causes her to shine. If you want to see what kind of a husband a man truly is, just look at his wife's face. Her countenance tells the whole story. The kind of words that we speak to our brides, habitually, as a manner of life, it'll influence those girls. And you look at a woman, you look at a wife that is radiant and has joy and happy, I'm telling you, you're looking at a woman that is loved by her husband, a husband that speaks kind and encouraging words to her. In verse 28, it says, he that loves his wife loves himself. And do yourself a favor, love your wife. It comes back good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Verse 31, it says, for this reason a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning Christ and the church. Right? A man cuts the apron strings, leaves mom and daddy, gets married, joined to his wife, starts his new family. It says there's a mystery hidden there. It's a picture of Christ and the church. You see, Jesus was so in love with us that he left his Father in heaven. He left the glory world. He emptied himself of all of his dignity and rightful privileges and was found in the fashion of a man. He was born of a virgin and joined himself to the human race so that he might redeem us and rescue us and make us part of his body, make us his bride. You know, I wear this wedding band, and it says to the whole world that I belong to somebody and somebody belongs to me. I'm not out shopping. I'm not looking for a new model. For me, it's till death do us part. But it means something more than that to me. There's something deeper. There's something even more significant than that. This reminds me that I am so loved by the Savior that he left the Father in heaven, became a human being to redeem me and make me part of his body, part of his bride. What a wonderful thing.